Hey, this is Adam from OTR. We had a short week of production this week because we've just taken a couple of road trips and we've got some really big production videos coming up. But we had an idea that since it's been 6 months since I've had the chance to live out one of my dreams and cook on a TV show called Iron Chef, we'd use this week when we only had a couple of days to put this video together to ask permission from the show whether it's okay if we could do a kind of behind the scenes of what that experience was like. If you've never watched Iron Chef, then this video might not be for you, but don't worry, we've got some really good food history stuff coming up in the next few weeks. But if you do know the show, and you've ever wondered what it's like to actually cook on that set, here you go.
There we are. There's you and me. Look at my hair. Gosh. Look what they did to my hair. I look incredible. That's not how I look in real life. My 35 baht.
What your mom said? Did your mom watch this show?
Maybe. She will now, for sure.
At the end of September, I got a phone call that I was not expecting. A chef friend had been invited to participate as a contestant on Iron Chef Thailand, an exact representation of the American and Japanese show, and one of the most popular programs of any kind in Southeast Asia. And he wanted me to be his sous chef, cooking a cuisine that I'd never cooked before. And by the way, the show would be filming in less than 48 hours. What followed was one of the most insane whirlwind experiences I've ever had, culminating in 8 hours on a massive soundstage filming my turn on my favorite show. 6 months later, I went to the chef's restaurant to watch, for the first time for both of us, the entire episode start to finish, and reminisce on the experience of what it was like to cook on Iron Chef. Hale cuisine.
They called me and said, do you want to come to the show? And I was thinking, because I have experience to working for the big projects, and I was thinking they just maybe lost somebody and is checking opportunity or possibility if I can. I was not taking it serious. And then after 1 week they call and said, okay, 2nd of October we're gonna do the show. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And so we had 1 week probably. That's why I called you and in panic and you remember that time, it was so crazy.
So you called me, what, 3 days before?
Yes, exactly. I called Daria and was crying and said like, I know Adam, he's a cool guy, I need help, I'm dying here.
I want to talk for a minute about Iron Chef, because this is not just a TV show. This is something formative for me, as this, when it first launched on American television in 2005, that was right at the beginning of when cooking became cool. This wasn't Julia Child teaching how to make household dinners. This was real masters in the cooking equivalent of a boxing ring, trading punches and testing themselves with a running clock. I didn't just watch the show. I used to invite friends to compete at my apartment, getting my roommate to surprise us with a secret ingredient, and then recruiting anyone around us to serve as judges. The original Japanese version of the show ended in 1999, and the American one wrapped up in 2014, but around the world, the brand today isn't just surviving, it's one of the most enduring franchises in existence. The Thai version airs on Channel 7, which was the first color television station ever in Southeast Asia and reaches tens of millions of viewers every week. And it's not a knockoff. It's the same show I used to binge watch, right down to the last detail.
Let's start with, you call me, we're 2 days in advance. I remember we were at this table, this table, you and I spent a full, 18 hours sitting here, 2 days before the show, going through what ingredients do we have, what can the cooks make, we have an hour, and look, there's obviously some things that are, on the show it's like a surprise that a chef has to leave after 20 minutes. But we know, I mean, you can see on Iron Chef how it works. You know that you're not going to have all of your 3 sous chefs throughout the entire process. So we have to organize what can you do, what can I do, because now I'm the last minute addition. You've got 2 cooks. You didn't know who from your team was going to do it until 2 days out either, right? And then you get your team together, and then what?
Well, first, you did the best job, I think. The help there, it was amazing. Thank you so much. But the best help, it was to trim my imagination.
The chef who invited me to cook with him on the program is named Alesha Voronin, and he's the mastermind behind the Moon Underwater, a fine dining restaurant in Bangkok's Salam district serving his own family recipes and his recreations of ancient dishes lost during the Soviet years, passed down from ancestors coming from everywhere from Russia's Arctic Circle to the coast of what's now Ukraine. I almost said no. I don't know anything about this cuisine. But Chef was persistent, and more than anything, I mean, it's Iron Chef. So I might not know the first thing about Eastern Bloc food, but I do know how to organize a team, so I figured at the very least, I could help as, let's call it, an administrative sous chef.
I'm watching you preparing food in your kitchen for them, and I can already see, while you're cooking, the biggest mistake that we made, and it's something so stupid, but what you and I spent hours making our lists of, and I maybe can even show it here on screen later, we'll see, if I still have the files, but like making the list of everything that we had to pack and bring, and the one thing we didn't even consider was how many spoons you use when you're cooking. You think pots and pans, you think big things, but the details of this were so complicated. I'm watching you cook on screen just now, and you're using like 3 spoons just to make this one dish.
Yes,
Meanwhile, we didn't pack the little things. And that's where I think, I can't say it's a mistake, it's just an oversight. It's like, well, if we knew going in how many, just to make one dish, I'm using 10 spoons. And that was when I'm cooking on this show, there's the set, there's the Iron Chef set. Do you want to pause this real quick? I want to talk about this. Okay, so that's the set. Tell me about the set. So we walk in, the first thing we do when we get picked up at 6 o'clock in the morning, we load up the van, we load up the crew, we load up your tea bottle. And then with your morning tea, we take the drive out to kind of close to where Jasper lives, where we do our production. It's out
around Suvarnabhumi, I think there.
No, it's north of there. It's like Bangkapi.
Minburi.
Bangkapi. So we go out to the studio. It's the first thing we do. I remember we take a COVID test, right? Check our names. We all had to register our passports. It was very professional. That was as big time a TV set. Even at 6:30 in the morning when we get out there, it was like hundreds of people. There's a big commissary kitchen where everybody's eating their breakfast.
I can say not necessarily 100 people.
So the first thing we do, we go inside. They take us straight to a room where they have all of their pots and pans, and they say, what did you not bring? What do you need? And so we have like 10 minutes to look through their gear and see, do we want an extra blender? Do we need an extra anything? Do we need a bigger stock pot?
Actually, they have a lot. And especially in the product
knives,
yeah, knives is not the knives you want to use, but they have.
They have. I mean, again, like it's our responsibility to bring what we need. They have extras in case we need it. But
they have a lot of extra things. I was not expecting that.
It sort of felt like what you'd expect as a wardrobe room, except instead of clothes, it was pots and pans. And
we lost there one matryoshka and one my very nice saucepan heavy one.
One funny thing about that is you changed our recipe on the spot when you saw what they had. Do you remember one thing they had was the wood to burn, to smoke something?
Yes,
right?
yes, the straws.
The straw to burn for smoking something. And you looked at me, Alyosha looks at me and he says, hey, get a bunch of that. We're going to smoke the jalapenos for the ceviche. Sure. So, really? Said, no, it's fine. So now we just load up this pan with straw, and we have a lighter, and it's okay. So we just changed the recipe. We're about to tape.
Show.
Yeah, it's a show, right? So I talked about the spoons. That was my first mistake. My second mistake was when we walked into this room. now we're in the giant studio, right? My second mistake was instead of using all 30 minutes to really prepare for the show, that's when I started taking selfies. That's when we want to walk around and be like, oh my gosh, look where I am, right? So you're so overwhelmed with the experience of being in there that it was like, well, we kind of want to not forget. And I told the sous chefs, I told your two cooks, you know, I said, guys, I want you to remember this because even if we don't win, this is one of the coolest things you're ever going to get to do. So take 5 minutes and just enjoy this, right? Like enjoy the experience of being here because this is awesome, right?
Not too much enjoyment.
I know, that was my mistake. It was too much enjoyment. Okay, so now we get the first secret ingredient. At this point, I am standing off to the... Have I come in yet? I don't remember whether are we all in there yet?
I think not yet.
I think not yet as well. You're filming this while I'm now in the, we're outside in the back where the commissary kitchen is. So I'm having a coffee. They're just throwing coffee at me. Yeah, you run and grab the ingredients and then here we come. Here we come. Now they say,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see, it's always few people running with camera.
Oh, there I am. There's my my big star turn. So right now we're working on the appetizer course. We have how long? 20 minutes to get the appetizer out?
20 or
15 maybe?
or 20 or
What was our idea? We were going to do blinis.
Ceviche.
Ceviche. Well, the blinis were going to be served with a bunch of stuff. So I'm now, if you see me, which you don't see me much, I had this whole like, again, as a guy who loves Iron Chef, I thought that I would give them some material. I would show like, I would act for the camera. They used none of it, right? This is like, every time I'm hamming it up for the camera when I'm trying to show, oh, what do I do with this ingredient? All cut.
I see.
Didn't show up at all on screen. So you can't tell from watching this on TV, but that's not staged. The judges are just on top of us. They are right there watching us. They can see everything. It's all in one big room. So if it looks, that's right. If it looks on TV, because you can't see us all in the same shot, if it looks like maybe that's staged in any way, it's absolutely not staged. The other thing that's not staged is the time. I am panicking already because how is it 48 minutes left already, right? And then there's 50 minutes left. We're 49.
And then it's become 15 minutes left in one moment.
It is the fastest hour I have ever in my life. If every hour went that way, my whole life would last the span of like an afternoon. Yeah, that's what that's about. Okay, so that's what that expression is you have less than 5 minutes.
It was 50 minutes before moment I watched there, yes.
So your panic is being told we have 5 minutes. My panic is that in 5 minutes, you're gone. Because they say you need to come in and present the dish to the judges.
Yes.
If you watch Iron Chef on TV and you wonder how that works, when the chef is presenting the dish to the judges, is the clock stopped? No. It's still going. I'm still out there cooking the next course. The sous chefs are still out there. And my heart is dropping into my chest when you disappear because I'm watching the clock. I'm like, okay, you're gone for 2 minutes. On my timesheet that I wrote down what everybody needs to do all the time, I did not factor in that you would be gone in the middle of our cooking to present the dishes fresh to the judges.
Yes.
That's not staged. That's real. And so
real.
when you're out presenting the dishes, now we're plating.
Not 3 days of shooting.
So you're plating. You look zen. You don't look worried at this stage.
I should not. I'm a captain. If I look worried, we all drown.
So we've lost one sous chef at this point. Yeah, we're down a sous chef. It's 3 of us now.
Luckily, he's not dead, but it's better dead.
Do you remember when we were planning for this and we knew that the rules were every little while they were going to come out and tell us one sous chef had to go and we were going to be down to 2 of us. Do you remember I volunteered myself to get cut first? And you said no.
Sure,
no. No way, you're the last man standing. I'm like, oh no, these guys work for you.
Suffer with me.
I was like, I did my job. I helped you with the menu. I can be cut first. So here comes our second secret ingredient. This is going to be king crab, yeah? Alaskan king crab?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was very good quality crab, actually, quite fresh. So the
Sturgeon was good
the
too.
ingredients they provide, it's amazing, true.
Okay, so now we're on the second course. Second course that we're making, again, we have no idea what Chef Off is doing at this point. This whole and papillote thing he's doing.
Actually, I first time see what he's doing.
Right? Brilliant. Again, he's a great chef. It came out very well. He knows this kitchen. He knows his team. Those guys, his team, his sous chefs that he brought, they were soldiers going into battle.
Minions.
Man, those guys came in, no smiles.
No.
All very nice, but my goodness, they came in with, we were just like, oh, cool studio, taking selfies. Those guys came in ready to work. Okay, I don't want to... pause it for a second. This is what hurts me the most. We'll talk about that in a moment. First, let's go to our second course. So what are we making now? I don't remember.
This is the main.
That's the main, but our second course we haven't served yet. You're preparing the second course. This is, can you pause it there? Just pause the screen. This is what sent everything sideways for us. It took too long to do. I'm screaming because I'm back there. I know on my timesheet to get that sturgeon in the oven to cook through, we need 40 minutes. We're under half an hour and I'm shouting. And I'm actually playing it up for the cameras a little bit, and they don't use it. They cut it all, but I'm like, Chef, we need that in. We need that in. But I know it's, and you keep telling me we're waiting for the risotto. We don't have the risotto. We're waiting for the barley risotto. That risotto coming out 10 minutes behind threw the whole day off.
Luckily, we did it a little bit pre-cooked, the barley. And the barley, the mushrooms my mom collected actually inside, the porcini mushrooms.
It's a shame that wasn't something that we really got to showcase the way we wanted to. But okay, second course, I don't remember what we did. We made a Russian salad, yeah? We made a...
Yes.
That was with the...
Olivier, which actually, we have few recipes.
Right.
The original one was a French cook about end of the 19th century. Created in Russia, but nowadays we know Olivier. It's very communist time recipe, very very different actually. So here we try to recreate the original.
Okay, so now you're off again. My heart's skipping a beat again. You've brought this to the judges. I can't see you. There's two tables. There's the tables for the judges who are, the hosts who are watching us cook. And then there's the judges table, which is in another room around the corner. So I don't know how long you're gonna be back there. I just know you're gone and the clock is running. So you're off, I can't see you. You're in this is the green room where we were sitting while you were taping your introductions and stuff like that.
It looks eatable, huh? Eatable.
Caviar and microgreens on anything, it looks nice. Trying so hard to bring the temperature down because I don't want to burn these, because if you burn crab cakes, on the inside it's just a wet mayonnaise mess, right?
We're gonna be very weird inside. Yep.
So I've heated up the oil, now I'm turning it down as low as it can possibly go. I'm breading
You made them beautiful.
They're nice. I mean, again, I know how to make crab cakes.
And I like the color. They didn't overburn them. Really like nice golden.
Yeah, this was your sauce recipe, which was nice, the beetroot, which gave it a nice color too.
Yeah, beetroot and the pickles.
So I'm now, okay, I can say I nailed...
And he's still opening the crabs.
I can say I nailed this crab cake. That being said, what I was doing now, these last 15, 20 minutes, what I was doing was so easy compared to now. You are making, because we were behind on making the dough for the dumplings. Our fish is in the oven until the last possible second. You're now doing 3 things at once. You're making the filling for the dumplings. You're making the wrapper for the dumplings.
Was difficult, yes.
And you're making all the sauces and garnishes, and I'm just doing my crab cakes. So of course my crab cakes come out brilliantly because I'm just cooking some crab cakes. You're doing everything else. You're Bugs Bunny playing baseball. You're doing every position on the field at the same time, right? And the dumplings were hard. That was hard.
Coming back the second. We have to change the hat.
Tell me your emotions now. You watch. We got all 5 courses done. What do you think? I'm excited because they all love my crab cake. So my easy thing that I'm doing while you're doing all the hard stuff, it came out nicely, so I get to look okay.
Yeah, but still, and what I like, it was not misjudging, because even our representation a little bit weaker for sure than Chef Alesha, but they was really judging more by the taste.
When you mentioned earlier about how this was fair, I agree. We could have won. The judges were fair. This wasn't staged. They're not trying to give there's no advantages to the Iron Chef other than they know the kitchen and they've done it before. That's it.
That's all.
You know, if we'd done this a second or third time, I think we'd come in knowing exactly what the challenges were, knowing what we didn't do. But like, yeah, it's fine. The judges were very fair. There's the beetroot sauce for the...
They love this actually.
I wish I'd had time. I'm so panicking on the sturgeon that I didn't really make my microgreens look nice. I'm just throwing things on. I mean, the garnishes didn't, I should have just taken that extra 10 seconds for plating. Like these little things where we just see the clock and the clock gets in your head and you're looking at the clock and it's all you're thinking about is the clock.
Too much pressure.
And really, honestly, I think we probably had 10 more seconds to get each dish a little bit perfect.
Yes.
We don't know that at the time. We're just surviving,
Exactly.
So, okay, now in the final round, I'm done. 2 sous chefs are done. We're in the room. They bring us back and they say, hey, you guys can sit here and watch. So where you see...
You had the
there
screen? You had their screen as well, like director screen?
I didn't need it. So look, okay, so if I can give you the layout of the room, that's on one side. Then there's the whole kitchen right here, okay? Pause it real quick. When we get to that screen, let's pause it. Okay, so here...
Oh, coughing up.
I just want to find the whole shot of the entire room. When you see... There we go. So this is the whole set. Behind the camera, where the camera is, this camera is the one that's on that massive 20-meter telescoping arm,
I think that's a few stands. 2 guys, there one running, you see, with cameras.
Yep. But most of everything is actually, obviously, behind where the camera is. The judges are sitting pretty much directly underneath the camera, just off to the left.
They had 2 groups of judges.
Correct. They were the hosts and the judges. The judges are in a different room. The hosts, the 4 that you see while we're cooking, they're right below where the camera is and off to our left.
It's high so...
Correct, because directly underneath the camera right here is where the big doors are that open into the judges' room, right?
It's right here on the center.
That's right. Off to the left, that's the table of the 4 judges and 4 hosts. And right next to that table, there's about 20 crew members who were either only involved in setup, only involved in cleanup, and then there's us and Chef Off sous chefs. Okay. So 6 sous chefs, the 3 of us and the 3 of his sous chefs. We're all just now. We've got a coffee. We've got my little microwave hamburger. I'm watching you trying to make chewing gum from honeycomb. And what do we have? 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that for this round?
I don't remember.
But yeah, this was in one hand.
15, no?
Maybe. On one hand, this was by far the most fun part of the day for me because I was done. On the other hand, it's the most stressful part of the day for me because I can't help, right? I can't, and I'm seeing the struggle, and you're on your own.
And you remember there was a problem because they had their honey. They had honey there. I mean, good honey, not like this honey, what is in the honeycomb. They had good honey, and I took their honey because I wanted to make it faster.
Yeah.
And it was there in the shop. And they stopped the show. You remember? They stopped the show because they said, hey, you took a honey from our market, not allowed.
I didn't know this. We couldn't.
That was the moment.
I couldn't hear you, so I'm so far away from you for this part. They stopped the show to tell you couldn't take honey for that.
It was in the middle, man. In the middle of I'm cooking these candies, because if I use that honey, at least the candy is gonna come.
But that would be, they would say, cheating because we're supposed to be making.
What is cheating? It's in their market. I mean, you have to tell me in advance.
Well, it's Wild Honey Challenge. You can't just take a jar of honey, I guess. And, I understand their perspective on this. I understand yours, too.
This TV.
I haven't seen the clock yet. I don't remember how much time we had.
And then I was crying because this is one so much life there, you know, so much eggs.
Did you know right now when you squeezed the honey and it was more loose and watery than you expected? Did you know you were screwed? Right there.
Yes, sure.
Coming down to the very end, that's our toffee, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to like getting harder and harder and harder. And it's falling on my feet, and my feet is so cold.
Just throwing liquid nitrogen around the kitchen. Meanwhile, look at that.
Puff, no? So good.
In 25 minutes, he comes out with that.
It's so painful to watch.
At this point, while we're taping, when you've just finished the last course of the day, what percentage of your mind did you think there was a chance that we could win?
Look at these eyes. I know we lost.
We get out there at 6:45 in the morning. Probably we arrive at the studio. We have half an hour to get set up, half an hour in the taping studio.
Makeup.
An hour for makeup, hair, and just us psyching ourselves out and being stressed.
Cute boy.
And then we have another half hour where we're taping all of our introductions, where we do the whole like this stuff, you know, the like.
Oh yeah, that standing pictures.
You got to do it with me real quick. Okay. So we do that for half an hour, and then it's like, we feel like, okay, you know, everything's kind of moving at this kind of comfortable pace. And then they're like, all right, time to do the show. And then it's not comfortable at all anymore. Then it's an hour of just straight up carnage. And then it's another half hour of chaos for you to do the dessert round. And then it's over. And when it's over, you and I and our two sous chefs get to sit there and just relax like this. And the crew and the camera crew and the producers and hair and makeup and everybody else,
Still working.
they've got 2 more. They taped 2 more that day.
No. I don't want to be in that shoes, man.
What makes me really happy about this, other than the experience of saying I cooked on Iron Chef, like, we cooked on Iron Chef, how cool is that? But I've been on TV before. You've been on TV before. The 2 sous chefs we brought, who grew up here, how cool is that for them, right? This is one of the biggest TV shows in all of Southeast Asia, Thai Iron Chef. Everybody watches this. They get tens of millions of views on their show, right?
Sure.
How cool is that for those 2?
If you want to know if we won or not, or at least the final score, the full video is linked below in the description. But how we felt when we left the studio really wouldn't have been different no matter the result. Because for as long as I live, I'll be able to say something very few out there can ever say. I got to cook on Iron Chef. Subscribe to the channel for more from OTR. Thank you to Chef Alesha for inviting me to participate. Thanks to Heliconia H Group and Iron Chef Thailand for putting on a great show. And thanks to all of you who support us on Patreon, or follow us here or on any of the social media linked below.
After this show released, I'm going to the market, and you know, like, this is not safe, kind of now. With my small bike, got a huge bag of stuff, and I stop on the petrol station, and then I see these cops, you know, in the gray uniform on the bike too, the raiders. And they follow me, they stop me, and they ask, what are you doing? Who are you? Where are you from? The normal questions. I said, I'm from Russia. Are you chef? And they're laughing on me. And I said, guys, you know, I've been at Iron Chef. And they're laughing. Because I look like trash, you know. And they said, no, guys, you not believe. And I showed them video. And they didn't ask anything. Just